now make up 1 out of every 5 open auto loans, and they carry an average of more than $3,000. That's huge, and for now, no one's too concerned. But if the situation does get worse, it's sure to raise concerns whether finance companies, banks, and credit unions have gone too far in extending credit to the least creditworthy. I'm Chuck Kamlick, CNBC Radio.
Napa know-how! When the temperature starts to drop, it helps to have a legend under the hood. No, not the kind that swings a giant axe and enjoys the camaraderie of oversized cattle. We're talking Napa Legend and Legend Premium Batteries. Buy one today, and you'll get up to a $20 prepaid Visa card by mail. That's $20 back, and the comfort of knowing you're riding along with a real legend. That's Napa know-how. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer expires 2/29/16.
Did you know 1 in 50 people has a brain aneurysm? Every 18 minutes, a brain aneurysm erupts. Half of brain aneurysms result in death. Will it strike you or someone you love? The Brain Aneurysm Foundation is the globally recognized leader in brain aneurysm education, awareness, advocacy, support, and research funding. The Brain Aneurysm Foundation, raising awareness and ending fear. To learn facts at bafound.org. That's bafound.org.
Hi, Pat Matthews again. I want to talk to you about selling online. And when I say selling, I'm talking about your home, your car, and even buying a house or a new set of wheels. There's a new kid in town, and that's buysellmakeoffer.com. The revolution has already begun, and I invite you to be a part of it. You see, get in on the ground floor because buysellmakeoffer.com never charges item fees. Can you imagine what the other guys might charge you for selling a car on their site? Let alone a house. Well, buysellmakeoffer.com doesn't do that. And you can use Skype and YouTube videos to sell your products, big or small. Go right now to buysellmakeoffer.com and set up your account. For as little as $7.95 per month, you can sell up to 50 items, and they'll give you the first 30 days free just to try it out. Remember, no per item fees. Join the revolution today. Buysellmakeoffer.com. And tell them Pat Matthews sent you.
Good afternoon. It's 3:03. I'm Di Rice with the very latest in live, local, national, and international news here on KCAA, 1050 AM and 106.5 FM. At least 50 people are dead from missile strikes today on Syrian schools and hospitals. The dead include personnel and patients at a Doctors Without Borders clinic in northern Syria. A UN spokesman says at least 5 medical facilities and 2 schools were hit by missiles. Doctors Without Borders says the deliberate attack on its facility was carried out by either Russian or Syrian government forces. And President Obama's summit with Southeast Asian leaders at the Sunnylands Estate is underway today. In the 2-day summit, 10 leaders join the president to discuss the economy and business, trade and investment, climate change, and they conclude tomorrow with counterterrorism and security issues. The president is using the occasion to counter China's growing influence in Southeast Asia. And finally, a man hiking to the Mount Baldy summit fell in icy conditions and was injured Sunday morning. That's yesterday, 2 days after trails were deemed safe enough to reopen after a week-long closure. The closure was ordered by the U.S. Forest Service after 2 hikers in 1 week died from falls from icy trails in the area. On Saturday, February 26th alone, 12 hikers, 1 dead and several injured, and the rest, frightened by the treacherous conditions, were airlifted from those trails. Now, yesterday's victim was a U.S. Marine in his 20s or 30s, injured his right shoulder and arm, and he scraped his back in the fall. Fire Department engineer Richard Wingate says area trails may have reopened, that is, too soon. Possibly. Inland Empire weather, it is sunny and breezy today and tomorrow. Today's high 84, tomorrow 88 overnight. We'll be dropping down to about 52. Currently, we've surpassed our high. It is 85 in San Bernardino. And checking out your drive, just a lot of stop and go. Ontario 10 westbound between Etiwanda and the 15 eastbound side is slow from Archibald to Citrus. Through Merino Valley, 215 northbound between Cactus and Blaine is a little slow. Southbound side is slow and go from Mount Vernon to Columbia. And the 60 west busy from Heacock Street to the 215. That is the very latest with news, weather, and traffic on the station that leaves no listener behind. KCAA, 1050 AM and 106.5 FM.
This is Joe Lyons. Go Red for Women is the American Heart Association's campaign to remind everyone that cardiovascular diseases are the #1 killer of women. The good news, 80% of heart disease and strokes can be prevented with lifestyle changes. During Heart Month, schedule a Well Woman checkup to measure your blood pressure, cholesterol, and sugar. Invest an hour of your life to save the rest. For more information, visit goredforwomen.org. That's goredforwomen.org. KCAA now presents Crossroads, a program in the public interest, bringing you the issues you need to hear about here in our community. Now here's your host, Mark Westwood.
And good afternoon. A few minutes after the hour, 3 o'clock, I'm Mark Westwood, the host of Community Crossroads, a new public service program we have here on KCAA. If you're listening to 1050, welcome. If you're listening to 106.5 FM, we're glad you are. You can also listen to us on Ustream. You can dial us in on your smartphone at 832-999-1050. Of course, you can connect via our webpage at kcaaradio.com. That's kcaaradio.com, and we have 2 different mobile streams you can click on to take your choice. Lots of ways you can listen to KCAA every day right here. And we invite you to join us on a daily basis for all of our exciting program. This is an interesting program today, a program we've developed to start listening and hearing and learning about a very interesting project called the Harmony Project, a project to bring a bunch of new homes to an area that has been, before that, we've enjoyed beautiful citrus groves, open spaces, cleaner air out in that area. It's up in the area up against the earthen dam that we know as Seven Oaks Dam. We have a couple of guests today that we're going to be talking to. I am glad to welcome Curtis Tuvey. Is that correct, Curtis?
That is correct.
Curtis is a former law enforcement officer, now retired, and he is a resident of Highland.
I'm a resident of Highland.
And, of course, myself, I'm the general manager of KCAA and the host of this program, Mark Westwood. I'm a resident of Kcaa. And then we also have Steve Rogers, who is a independent civil engineer, and he is a resident of Redlands. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you.
And welcome, Curtis. And we're glad you're here. And so virtually we're sitting in San Bernardino. We have a resident of Highland, a resident of Kcaa, a resident of Redlands. All we need is a resident of Mentone, and we'll have the cities that are most impacted by this huge new Lewis Home project that's being proposed. That's been proposed, I think, Curtis, since what, 2014?
It has been on the works for at least a couple of years now.
Couple of years.
And
what are we talking about? We're talking about 3,600 homes, approximately.
3,632 new homes, and that's going to be at the very far east end within the city boundaries of Highland.
And, you know, I looked at a map of Highland, and I see that, Highland is in the city of Highland. But the smallest amount of boundary is the city of Highland to this project, really. It's in the city of Highland. But then the largest area that it affects is Redlands, correct? Isn't that correct, Mr. Rogers?
Well, Redlands is there, but I would say that the unincorporated area of Mentone is really the one that's most impacted.
The biggest.
Probably.
And so with all this, the impacts, we look at the impacts, okay. It's a beautiful day today. Everybody can look across the basin. You can see the mountains from east to west and west to east. Beautiful, clear, crisp day, blue skies. We live in a beautiful area. And I think all of us, I grew up in this area. Did you?
I grew up initially over in the Pomona Valley city of Claremont, so really similar.
Similar, yeah.
And moved out here in 1997.
And Steve, what's your native background?
Well, I'm an Army brat, so I actually was born in Colorado.
Okay, well, I was an Army brat, too. I was born in Texas, but grew up in San Bernardino.
But
spent most of my life here. But it's a beautiful area. You do agree?
Yeah, I've lived here for over 30 years, so yes.
And we want to keep it that way. We want to do what's best for the residents, for the cities, but also what's best for the environment. And this kind of impact, 3,632 homes. It's no small project, but it's not the only project, is it?
No, there are, I believe, 5 other projects that are going to impact Highland and the immediate area. And if you take a look at it, the grand total is going to be reaching out toward, about 4,800 new homes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Traffic, water, air quality, schools, all these things come to mind. We're going to talk about just a little bit here. But yeah, Highland is making a decision that not only affects themselves, but it's going to vastly affect the city of Mentone. Just a little area that's just kind of an unincorporated area. Is Mentone actually a city?
No, it's not a city. It's unincorporated area of San Bernardino County, and that's why there really isn't any representation except for, I was mentioning before, I'm involved with a group called the Mentone Area Community Association, which is a nonprofit, and we sort of act as a liaison between the community and the county government.
They call it Mentone Beach sometimes.
Yes.
Sometimes.
It's Highway 38, mostly Ligonia Avenue is the main street. Last bit of flat land between Highland, Yucaipa, before you go up to Big Bear and up the mountain. Mentone's a beautiful little area. Small. Citrus groves still around.
There are still some. My wife, who grew up and was raised in this area, rode horses as a kid, and she can tell you stories about going down Mentone Boulevard on horseback, right down the middle of the road. Maybe a car or a truck every half an hour would pass by. It's a whole lot different now.
Yeah, we've seen the traffic increase out there quite a bit. Lots of new development going on, but that's something we need to touch on right now. You can't help but have traffic.
This is true.
When you bring in 3,600 new homes and another great big development here and a development here, you're talking tons and tons of new homes. That brings new people. You know, there are more cars in the city of Los Angeles than there are people. It's very true, by about 1 million. It's no small amount. And so you can see that kind of replicate itself out eastward as you come out here. We're going to have a lot of cars. We're going to have a lot of traffic. How in the world are we going to handle that?
One of the big things we're looking at just with the Harmony project is an estimated 34,000 additional vehicle trips per day.
The average household in California has 3.2, and I don't know what the 2 is, 3.2 cars per house.
Well, and the Harmony development is going on the presumption that each of the 3,632 houses within Harmony is going to contain, on average, 3.44 people. That's a figure that they've used for planning for, well, at least since 2004, 2005.
So 3.2 maybe 3.2, and then lawnmower, rider lawnmower or something. I don't know. But back to the matter is, that's a lot of cars and a lot of people, and lots of traffic.
Well, this is something that Harmony is looking at, and in their development, and the city looking at this, the Planning Commission, is making an assumption that the commuting residents, and they will be commuters because it's kind of a far way out there from everything else.
Oh, it is. It's way out there.
It is. And so this is not only going to create an even larger commute overall. There's things you can think about air quality, pollution that kind of goes along with that. But what you're also looking at is how do they get to where they want to go? And they're either going to be going down through Highway 38 and then out through Mentone Boulevard, Lugonia. From there, they can branch off. They're going to either go straight to the 210.
There's not many roads in and out of there.
Well, none of the roads in those areas were ever designed to handle the current traffic that they have, let alone percentages of 34,000 additional vehicle trips per day. We kind of think that once those commuters, when Harmony is at full development, those people are going to try and make their way down the road. Mm-hmm. They're going to get into the current traffic jam they're going to find on Lugonia, getting out to the 210. Maybe once or twice, they're going to head on back and try and do Green Spot Road through the city of Highland. So out of those 34,000 additional vehicle trips per day, we feel that probably the lion's share ultimately will be using Green Spot Road.
Yeah, Green Spot Road, that's a nice little road, but still, that's I've driven in and out of there. First of all, it's no short trip. No. It really isn't a short trip. And, you know, it's not lined with gas stations and supermarkets. Neither is Mentone, right, Steve? I mean, I think there's 4 gas stations in all of Mentone.
Exactly. They're few and far between, and
so if you want to live under an earthen dam, in a wash with no gas stations, well, maybe Harmony's for you. I don't know. I'm being funny here, but I'm sure that I saw this master plan, because that's what people that are paid to do and build and construct do. I mean, they make these huge things that like books of a master plan, an answer for everything, but really it's like And you can find that, by the way. There is, if you're driving down the road and you live in this area of Highland or Mentone or Redlands or San Bernardino, and you're like, oh my God, and you want to find out more information as we're talking about this, and maybe you have to go into your work or something like that, there is an internet website, right? And we're going to say this several times. So this will be the first time we say it. What's the website?
This is good. We have a website, and it is www.betterhighland.net. There is also now a Facebook page, and that is, find it at No Harmony in Highland. We've had 17,000 or so hits on the website, and the Facebook page has been up for, a little over a week, 2,000 hits already.
Okay, once again, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking right now with Curtis Tuvey, and I hope I'm pronouncing it right, and Roger.
Steve Rogers.
Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers. You have two first names, I'm sorry. Steve Rogers. And we're talking about a project called Harmony, California, basically. I don't know why they don't call it Highland, but it's Harmony, the Harmony Project in Highland, around Highland, Redlands, Mentone, Yucaipa, San Bernardino area. And it's going to impact us greatly. So we're going to move on and talk more about this. But in case you've just joined us, we're talking about the aspects of this. We're going to be talking about water, traffic impact, schools, air quality. All these things are going to change your life drastically.
And we think it's going to change everybody's life.
And everybody's life. Whether you live in a great big home up on the hill, overlooking it all, or, everybody has to go to the grocery store. Everybody has to go to their schools. Everybody has to, there's going to have to be new schools built. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. The population will increase. Is this something that we need to do? Do we need to develop? You got to ask yourself this question. Do we need to develop every square inch of land, whether it be rocks or a wash or citrus groves? Is this what we need to do to make somebody profitable or one group profitable? And who is benefiting from this? Are the residents of Highland benefiting from this? Do you think that the residents of Highland will benefit from this?
There's some real questions about that. When it comes to the distance that Harmony is away from the rest of the city of Highland, the different businesses in Highland, are they going to receive more people coming to shop at their businesses? We don't think so. In fact, when we look at their daily needs, Yucaipa is probably closer, as is the city of Mentone, where there are marginal stores and things that they're going to be using. But it's not really going to affect Highland the way Highland thinks it will.
Well, it's going to affect their tax increment. Cities live and breathe, and they need tax increment. That's what they do. They're an amoebic organization sometimes, an organism once in a while. Sometimes I look at Highland, and I say they must be. But I don't mean to be condescending there. I've observed that sometimes they don't always act in their best interests or shoot themselves in the foot. But the fact of the matter is, what is in the best interest of the whole region? This affects the whole region. And in Yucaipa in particular, the people of Yucaipa, I being a resident and an active resident of the city of Yucaipa, we look at Yucaipa, we've developed big box ordinances. In other words, you can't build a big box store in Yucaipa. We've said, no, we don't want it. Go somewhere else for it. Right. We've taken our lot sizes, and we've increased the lot sizes so that developers can't come in and build 20,000 homes or 3,600 homes. They have to build them in a way that is strategic and benefits the citizens of Yucaipa and in a slower manner. We don't want, pop-up houses happening everywhere. And so, we kind of get alarmed when people next door to us, our neighbors next door, might take a more haphazard approach to this.
This is going to have real direct consequences for, again, Yucaipa and Mentone and Redlands as well as Highland. But if this was a project that was not just approved, but rather went to a referendum vote and the city voted on it, I'm a resident of Highland, I can vote on it. It's going to directly affect you, but you can't vote on it.
Right. And there's a problem there. Yep. There is a definite problem. And there are different things that cities around can do to stop things. Directly in, when it's in their sphere of influence, there are things they can do. That might be something that Kcaa or Redlands might look into, I think.
And so far, in talking to the Planning Commission and the City Council, we're not seeing that that's taken place. We're not seeing that we're really hearing much from Kcaa or Redlands. The group, Redlands, or rather Residents for Responsible Development, or just RRD, we have members now in this group who are from all of those different cities, because they all realize you can't just sit there and wait for it to happen. You've actually got to act.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And, one of the things you have to look at if you're a neighboring city, like, for instance, Highland contracts. It's a contract city. They don't have their own police department. They don't have their own fire department. They don't have their own school district. That's a big one.
They are, in fact, the Redlands School District goes out through a whole bunch of different cities. Right. So you have that great big thing, and you're right. The San Bernardino sheriffs are, if you need a police officer, that's who's probably going to come to your door if you live in the city of Highland.
Right, exactly. That's it. There's nobody else. There is no Highland City Police Department, and it's Cal Fire, I believe, if you have a fire. And if you are a high school student in the city of Highland, your alma mater is going to be Redlands East Valley High School, I believe.
Well, we have Citrus Valley, which is out by the 210 freeway.
That's right.
Over by San Bernardino Road. And then, there's going to be Redlands High School, and then there's Redlands East Valley, Rev.
And then San Gorgonio and San Bernardino.
Right. But when you're looking at the project itself, where Harmony's located, Rev would probably be expected to take up the majority of high school age students who are going to show up there. An interesting thing, just looking back 10 years, the population of our schools has increased about 8% in 10 years. And out of that 8%, 20% of that figure, it's high school students. So we are reaching our max, and that's one of the big problems with this project.
So then, the taxpayers of these cities have to build new schools. They have to expand. They have to build bigger high schools. And, that's a cost that doesn't go to Highland taxpayers. It goes to Redlands taxpayers.
That's right.
Now, Highland taxpayers pay a fee.
I think everybody in any of the adjoining cities pay a fee, but this is another issue that we're looking at. When you look at the Harmony development itself and you see it on a map and you see all of the amenities that they've included in it, that by itself is a pretty good-looking city. And I have to call it a city because it's big enough that it can stand almost on its own. The development has parkland, it's got open space, it's got access to trails in the wildlands areas there. It is pretty nice in itself. The developers of Harmony have said, you're going to need a police substation, you're going to need a fire station, and they're willing to go to bat to add those. They're also looking at giving us, they call it basically set-aside lands, where they will provide the lands for the inclusion of a new elementary school. One of the big problems that we've got is that you're looking at, you've satisfied the needs for an elementary school. It's still real questionable whether you're going to satisfy the needs for a high school. If you overflow Rev, now you're looking at Citrus Valley, which is the newest of the high schools in the area. You're looking at a 10-mile commute just to go one way. So a 20-mile round trip on Green Spot Road, which will be amazingly impacted. Today, this week, I should say, just taking my daughter to high school, I go down Green Spot Road. I have had to sit on Green Spot Road as many as 4 cycles of the light just to get on my way down to Citrus Valley.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, for folks to get a perspective, what we're doing is we're talking about Harmony, Project Harmony or Harmony Project that can be built out in Highland. If you're just joining us, it's about 3,600 homes, 3,632 homes to be exact. And that's also other projects is going to bring it to about 4,800 homes, I believe. But, let's talk about where this is going to be. For our listeners to give a reference, if you're leaving San Bernardino and you come across 5th Street and you drive out 5th Street and then you go under the 210 freeway And on the right-hand side is where the Lowe's department store is, and LA Fitness and all that. And there's the In-N-Out Burger. Everybody now knows where
Everybody
the In-N-Out
knows
Burger
where that is.
And you keep driving. Just keep driving. Okay? Now you're going to go past Village Lakes or Highland Village Lakes or something. It's a little community out there with the lakes and stuff. Keep driving. Keep driving. Keep going. Then you're going to go out and you're going to come to Church Street. And there's a Stater Brothers shopping center there. You think you've gone a long way? Keep driving. Keep driving. Keep driving. You know, for people, this blows your mind like, we're going to drive off the edge of the earth here. And then you keep driving and you see a whole lot of vast, deserty, rocky land. And you look up and you can kind of start to see the Seven Oaks Dam off to your left-hand side as you're headed east. Keep driving. Keep driving. And if you don't look closely, there's a little park there, a dog park. And I'm sure the park has a name. I'm not sure what the park is.
It's going into, you pass by the East Highland Ranch on the north side of the street, and you'll keep going. There are additional developments. You go by the dog park, and I don't know the name either.
Keep driving. Keep driving. Keep driving. Then you're going to see the Kcaa AM3 transmitters out there.
On the left.
Spanish La Diferencia. Okay, and keep driving. And then there's a new East Valley Water District headquarters, and you're like, wow, they built this out here because nobody else would want to build anything out here. And this looks like you're in the middle of a wash. What a perfect place for water. And there's some water pumping stations. And there's nothing else out there. There's some orange groves way up on a hill, and there's lots of rocks.
Once you get past the Water District's new facilities, which I think were probably placed there in anticipation of a lot more development to the east.
Keep driving.
But once you get past that, you're suddenly going to look around you and you're going to go, have I just moved back to the 1940s?
Yeah.
Because it's
lanes
very
go down
rustic.
To 2 lanes.
Yeah.
They built a new bridge out there. They have built one new bridge because there were people being killed on this 2-lane bridge that wasn't wide enough for cars, 2 cars to cross.
And that's only one of 2 bridges down that way that you'll find that's that condition.
An assistant district attorney friend of mine was killed out there on that bridge, and rest her soul. And there's been lots of traffic accidents and fatalities right there. They widened that bridge, but you go around this curve now, and are we getting close to where...
Now you're on Florida.
Yeah.
And Florida goes through the groves that are still existing out there.
Are we to Harmony, California yet?
We're not to Harmony yet.
Not to Harmony yet.
We're getting close. Now we go all the way down, and the road takes a pretty radical right-hand turn, and you are now on Garnett.
Garnett.
And Garnett is going to be changed around so that it's a much smoother transition from that big sharp right-hand turn, and it will start to lead you.
90-degree angle?
Pretty much. And now you're starting to move into Harmony.
There you are.
Okay. And Harmony is going to be between there and Highway 38, which you remember Highway 38, it's also a 2-lane road.
Where you would think, this is a wash. This is where the water comes down. What if there's a Seven Oaks Dam up there?
Yeah.
And what if it's an earthen dam, I believe. Earthen dams have not always been the strongest dams. And there's not always water behind it either, but in a 100-year flood, there would be a lot of water behind it.
There might be.
And, and that would be the time the dam would break. Otherwise, it wouldn't break. It would just be up there. And, that's where Harmony is. So we have just now arrived in Harmony, and we've covered just a little bit here. We're going to cover what it would be like to live in Harmony, in the Harmony area for people commuting in just a little bit. We're going to take a break now. We've come to the Crossroads at Community Crossroads. I'm Mark Westwood, visiting here and chatting with Curtis Tuvey and Steve Rogers about a project called Harmony in Highland, California. Is there harmony in Highland, or can there be harmony between these communities that will be impacted? We'll find out more next, right here on Kcaa 1050 AM and 106.5 FM. We'll be right back.
It's time for the KCAA Community Calendar, brought to you exclusively by Learn for Life, a growing network of public charter schools. The clear mission of Learn for Life is to motivate and mentor students who have dropped out of school and provide them with the personalized education and technical training necessary to advance their lives.
From the KCAA Community Calendar, I'm Mark Westwood. Everyone's talking about Third Thursdays in San Bernardino. Yes, rediscover City of San Bernardino's Third Thursday Food Fest. Switch up your lunchtime routine and try the gourmet food truck Third Thursday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Court Street parking lot between E&D Streets in downtown San Bernardino. Enjoy delicious, tasty food from food trucks such as My Delight Cupcakery. Taste some of the delicious Cousin's Maine Lobster, JoJo's Grill-A-Dog, and you can't leave out Baby's Badass Burgers. All kinds of mouth-watering delights, hot off the trucks, and plenty to eat. Put an end to dull, boring fast food and truck on over to City Hall in downtown San Bernardino for the Third Thursday Food Fest. And don't forget to check out Rediscover San Bernardino's Facebook page at facebook.com/SB Third Thursdays. That's THIRD Thursdays. And that's a look at the KCAA Community Calendar. I'm Mark Westwood.
The KCAA Community Calendar is presented exclusively by Learn for Life, a growing network of public charter schools where students can complete their education on a part-time basis. To find a resource center nearest you, call 1-877-360-LEARN or visit Learn for Life online at learn4life.org.
Join Sowing Seeds for Life on Monday, Leap Year Day, February 29th, for the 7th Annual Celebrity Golf Tournament to fight hunger. This year, the event will take place at the beautiful Glendora Country Club. Registration starts at 9 a.m. The shotgun start is at 10. For more information or to register, please call 909-392-5777. 909-392-5777. This is Joe Lyons. I hope to see you at the Sowing Seeds Leap Day Golf Tournament.
Redlands Blueprint and Commercial Printing Company has been serving the greater Inland Empire for over 60 years. For all of your printing needs, from full-color printing to high-speed copying and everything in between, go to Redlands Blueprint and Commercial Printing Company. Their staff is committed to your total satisfaction. Great service isn't just lip service at Redlands Blueprint and Commercial Printing Company. It's the way they do business year after year. Having trouble finding drafting supplies? Redlands Blueprint and Commercial Printing Company still carries a complete selection. Redlands Blueprint and Commercial Printing Company is rated high in customer satisfaction by Value Star, an independent rating company. For all of your personal or business printing, call Redlands Blueprint and Commercial Printing Company at 909-792-3478. That's 792-3478, or visit them on New York Street in Redlands off the I-10 and the Crosstown Freeway.
Inland Body and Paint is a family-owned and operated fleet collision and repair shop that's proud to live in and help our community. Bring your heavy-duty trucks and or equipment to their Fleet Collision and Paint Center in Fontana for expert collision repair services. With 35 years of experience, you're sure to receive quality workmanship at an excellent price from Inland Body and Paint Center. From fiberglass repairs to quality painting, they'll take care of your truck and equipment from top to bottom in their new 64-foot spray booth. By the way, Inland Body and Paint of Fontana repaired and repainted the Kcaa truck, and they can do the same job for your car, truck, or heavy-duty equipment. Inland Body and Paint, dedicated to the community and to your satisfaction. Call them today to learn what they can do for you. You can find Inland Body and Paint on Valencia in Fontana. Call them at 909-434-0466 or online at inlandbodyandpaint.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready. It's Wolfman Jack.
Sometimes I get to thinking there's just not enough love and romance left in our lives today. And that's why I like to reminisce and to relive that first feeling of love and do it all over again.
Did you boogie with your baby in the back row of the movie show?
The Wolfman's back all the way on KCAA at midnight, Friday and Saturday nights, coming in March. Don't miss the Wolfman on 1050 AM and 106.5 FM.
KCAA.
KCAA 1050 AM. I'm Mark Westwood. You're listening to Community Crossroads, a new public service show here at KCAA. 106.5 FM and 1050 AM. You can listen to us on Ustream. You can watch us on Ustream. You can catch a copy of the show on our website at kcaaradio.com. It's a podcast. There'll be a podcast of the show, mobile streams. If you're on your iPhone, your smartphone, we have an app for that. Or you can just simply dial 832-999-1050. That's 832-999-1050. And that's the way you listen to the show. Community Crossroads, the show about communities that are simply at crossroads. And we're at a crossroads right now. The city of Highland, the city of Yucaipa, the city of Mentone, the city of San Bernardino, facing a new project by a very familiar developer, Lewis Homes. They've been out in Rancho Cucamonga. They've been out forever. They've developed homes all over the place. You could pretty much say the city of Rancho Cucamonga is there because of Lewis Homes. We are chatting with some members of the community out in Highland and Redlands. Steve Rogers is from Redlands. Curtis Tuvey is from Highland. And they're part of a group called
Residents for Responsible Development, RRD.
Residents for Responsible Development. You can find out more about them at abetterhighland.net. Just the way it sounds, abetterhighland.net. And they're on a crusade, I would say. They're on a quest. They want to have a better community to live in by ensuring that it's developed properly. And they're looking at this development plan, this over 50-page plan by Lewis Homes to build 3,632 new homes out in what is almost Mentone, but just on the very outskirts of Highland. And they're saying maybe not so fast, not so fast. So we've been talking about this, and I think we're going to have you back some more, hopefully, because as you can see, an hour goes by probably pretty fast.
It does. This flew.
Yeah, already been by about 30 minutes, and so. You know, we want to talk more about that. We were talking about schools and how the Redlands Unified School District will be the biggest impacted, and schools and the number of people. And it's not just 3,632 new homes. It's 3.5 new people in each one of those houses. It's, 3.2 automobiles for each one of those houses. How, the traffic will be increased to over 30,000. What is it?
34,000 additional vehicle trips per day just because of this one development, not including the other developments in the area. We can probably anticipate a total of anywhere 40 to 45,000 additional vehicle trips per day in the city of Highland.
So that's a lot of thirsty cars, and we don't know where all the gas stations are going to come from. We have to build some gas stations. But speaking of thirst, thinking of lawns, thinking of water, now we come to the big thing. I mentioned being under, the Seven Oaks Dam. That's an earthen dam that's mostly dry up there until we have the 100-year flood maybe. But where are we going to get this water from, Steve? Where are we going to get this water from, Curtis?
Well, that's the big question. Where does the water come from? Because basically we all know we're in a drought. We've been told by the governor that it's a drought situation. We have to, in Redlands, we've been mandated to reduce our water by 36%.
And then you reduce it, you get fined too, but that's another story.
Exactly. Well, they're going to raise our rates too.
You're going to raise your rates.
When you reduce the amount of revenue that the city gets, and then they're going to jack up our rates. But just think on top of that, while the drought is ongoing, they're going to even consider approving a project with 3,600 new homes, and there really is no source for the water. We've talked to East Valley Water District about this, and basically it would all be new wells, and the lion's share would probably be from the state water project water.
A 20% increase in the retail population served by the East Valley Water District. That's the retail part of it. That's not the commercial part of it. That's, what consumers drink. That's not potable water that is, used to water lawns and everything else. That's a lot of water.
That's a lot of water. We're already looking at an average from East Valley Water District is stating that we use between 9 and 16 million gallons of water a day. And we're doing it right now. As a matter of fact, we're managing our water pretty well because the first 28% decrease that the state mandated, we met that. And we continue to meet it. I'm looking in my neighborhood, all the lawns that are actually going out, and people are starting to put in water-conscious landscapes. So we're doing it, but what we're also looking at is we're managing it now, and we're being told that the Sterling Natural Resource Center, the water treatment plant, $126 million plant that is that we're anticipating.
That sounds like such a nice thing. Water treatment plant. Well, they just take the water and they make it nicer. It's also called reclamation. Where does this water come from?
Well, this is all the same water that we're using now.
Excuse me, folks. It comes out your butt, all right?
Yeah, this is wastewater.
This is wastewater.
Yeah.
Now, I've watched this project. Okay, for our listeners, okay, here's what happens. We used to joke with the city of Riverside, San Bernardino, and said, oh, yeah, you think you're better than this, but you're drinking our piss water. Okay? It's exactly what's happening because they have no water. They have no water of their own. San Bernardino's living on a water aquifer. And so, you know, we take it, we take our medications, we take our food, you know, and we eat our food, and then we pee it, and it goes down in the sewer. And then it goes into a treatment plant. And they run it over metal and particulates and boil it and steam it and add chemicals and pull this out of it and reverse osmosis. And then they take it, and by law, they have to pump it back into the ground again. It's a very expensive process, by the way. Water treatment plants, as they're nicely put, reclamation plants, you know, it's actually sewage treatment. Sewage treatment plants are very expensive to build. And, of course, does Highland have one of those?
Well, that's what this is all about, to spend $126 million to build one. And if it means that we can inject water back into the aquifer, you know, overall, that's probably a good thing. Do we need to do it right now? That's one of the big questions.
There is, by the way, a movement in the state legislature. There is, by law, after they do all the Smarty project here, and they take all the stuff out of it, and they take your prescription drugs and whatever else you have taken and consumed and what other people have consumed illegally out of the water, supposedly. Got to be healthy, right? No minerals in the water whatsoever. Then they have to pour it into the ground. But if some people in the state of California get their way, they won't have to take it and put it in the ground. They can just pump it right back in the system, and then you can drink this water. So if you want to live under an earthen dam...
That's scary.
And if you want to drink piss water... then I guess Harmony's for you. But Lewis Homes will be making their money. I don't think I'm going to get very many contributions from Lewis Homes. But anyway, I speak the truth, though. And somebody has to say it. Somebody has to be bold enough to say it and not be political and say, folks, this is what they're going to do to you. They're going to overcrowd your schools. They're going to overcrowd your roadways. And now we're talking water. And the average price per cubic foot of water is going to go up $3.84 at the outset.
Ouch.
At the outset of this plan. And why are we doing this? Because it makes Highland a better place? Because it makes Mentone a better place? Because it improves Redland schools? Takes the load and stress off Redland schools? Or their taxpayers to have to build new schools? Or why are we doing this? Because Lewis Homes wants more profit.
Well, and there is the concern over our water use and the fact that the drought's not a made-up thing. It's really happening. It may be happening for, you know, I'm 59. It's going to happen for the rest of my lifetime.
Right.
Who knows when that's going to end? But the issue that we're seeing right now is we're being told we really, really need this. And one thing you have to take into consideration, the Harmony Project really, really needs it because currently, with our water use and the fact that we've met the state standards, we're doing okay right now.
Okay, you can find out more about this at a website called abetterhighland.net. Abetterhighland.net. If you just joined us, we're talking with Curtis Duvey and Steve Rogers from a neighborhood group out in Highland.
RRD, Residents for Responsible Development.
I wanted you to say that, not me. Residents for a Better...
It's a tongue twister.
It is. It is. But when do you have your meetings? And how do people who are maybe genuinely affected and concerned about this, how do they get a hold of you?
We're doing a number of things. We do have our website, www.abetterhighland.net. We also have a Facebook page, No Harmony in Highland. And if you're a resident of Highland, or if you shop at Stater Brothers, you just might see us out front leafleting and handing information out. When you want to know what additional things we're doing, when we're going to have meetings and so forth, go to our webpage. Check it out.
Now, does the City Highland Planning Commission or Council, they need to decide on this, right? Or have they already decided on this, or are they going to?
This keeps getting put back, right, Steve?
Yes, they've had some meetings, but no official meetings yet. It's a study session was held with the Planning Commission, and that was probably about a month ago. And basically, it's been waiting for over a year to go to the next step, which would be the Planning Commission.
And forgive me, who is the mayor of Highland these days?
Larry McCallum.
Larry McCallum. Oh, that's right, the cleaners guy. Yeah, he owns the cleaners.
Yep.
Right. And then McCleaners, I think it's called. McCleaners.
Okay.
McCleaners, yeah. And then you've got, is it Penny Wilburn? Marshall? No, Penny Marshall was Laverne and Shirley.
Penny Lilburn, I think.
Penny Lilburn. And then who else is on the city council in Highland? Help me out, Curtis.
I'm sorry, I can't tell you name by name.
Okay. I just know the ones I know. So what do you think the chances of them going, we really need this money so badly that we're going to turn everybody down the road in Mentone and Redlands and Yucaipa on their ears?
We're not quite sure. And what we've been trying to do by attending city council meetings, planning commission meetings, is to point out certain things about the infrastructure to support something this big and the desire to have the tax dollars coming in. It doesn't matter if the highway repairs to Highway 38, if the reconditioning of the bridges, and things are going to be taken care of by the county or through state taxation. Got to understand where that money ultimately comes from, and it's your pocket. Mm-hmm. So we're looking at the infrastructure to support this. They've already said, as far as the traffic congestion, there's no way to mitigate it. We're stuck with it if we allow this to happen. The impacts to the schools, we don't have any room in our middle schools. In fact, they're looking at the possibility of a new middle school in Loma Linda and saying that over time we can kind of shift populations so that people will ultimately go there. Now, remember, that doesn't take into consideration what's Loma Linda doing, what's San Bernardino doing, other communities that are probably going to be increasing their population. So to depend on that, we have some problems. Lewis, to their credit, they're already looking at providing us set-aside lands for an elementary school. We feel they will also have to have that set-aside land for a new middle school to make it even work. They estimate almost 1,900 new students, but if you use the same system of how they figure this out, and if you use the system used by San Bernardino County and the state of California, that added school population is actually going to be more like 2,500 new students.
We understand cities need tax increment and developers need to develop, but maybe there's a kind of a compromise here.
Well, there would be decades of paying for all the infrastructure to support Harmony, and the developer isn't going to do that.
And the developer won't do that.
The developer will pay what is mandated as minimal.
Bottom line, their profit is
to
what
do
they
this.
want.
And between
run into the community, build the homes, sell them off, they're done.
This is the Lewis Group, and this is the county of Orange County, and they don't live here.
How does the county of Orange County fit into this?
The land that this is all going to be built on is actually owned by Orange County.
Oh, really? That adds a new twist to everything.
Well, it does, because the bottom line here is profit.
Why does Orange County own land out there?
You have the Seven Oaks Dam, something that was necessary, and it went up, and it was a project that was basically thought up and put together by multiple counties who take advantage of what it produces.
Because the quality of living in Orange County is so far superior to the quality of living in East San Bernardino County.
Well, I think this is
not.
When you start thinking about traffic jams in Orange County, they have no problem with bringing that to our community because they're already used to it.
There's a meme on Facebook yesterday because of Valentine's Day. It said, "Honey, I will go to the ends of the earth. I will go from the 10 to the 91 to the 101 for you." And then all these people would post under there, "Wow, you'll do anything for your." Well, if you ever if you want to know what it would be like to live in Harmony, California, here, let's do an exercise. Drive down on Friday night, if you dare, if you're brave enough, to the 91 freeway and the 55 and go sit down in Carbon Canyon on a Friday afternoon. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. But Carbon Canyon, there's one way in and one way out. And up on the side of there are all those Lewis homes, because that's what Lewis did. They made a whole bunch of money by building those homes up there. One way in, one way out, and you got 5 hours to enjoy it in the bottom of Carbon Canyon. Now, what's the difference between out there on Green Spot Road and Church and Garnet, not a bit. It's a canyon. There's a huge mountain next to it, just like in Carbon Canyon. So you want to know what it's going to be like to live in an area under an earthen dam where you're drinking piss water in a crowded school and crowded roads? Well, then just go down to Orange County. The owners of the land. How the heck did that happen? Interesting, isn't it? So, if you want to donate and support, is there a way to donate and support this group that's helping to stave off this crisis?
This is not a group that is trying to acquire any funds. What we're trying to acquire is understanding. When I do leaflets around my neighborhood, and this is nothing official, this is just what I've found by going to people's homes and saying, hey, can I give you a leaflet? And when they want to know what it's about, probably, and I'm going to say 3 out of 10 homes that I go to have some idea of the Harmony Project. That means 7 out of 10 have no idea.
Clueless. And
that
that's not their fault.
Coming.
They just haven't been informed.
There has not been, for something that's going to increase the population of the city of Highland by a fifth to a quarter, it would seem that maybe they would advertise this and let the city, the residents there, know a little better. But that hasn't happened, we think, sufficiently, efficiently enough.
Carbon, Gypsum Canyon, that's where you'll be living. That's the quality of life on a Friday night at 7:30 at night when you're trying to get home to your family. That's what's going to be happening, because that's what essentially it's the same makeup. It's the same geography. It's the same topography, same rocky surface, same mountains, same, whatever. One way in, one way out. And then we talk about our last pillar, maybe not even a pillar, air quality.
Well, what happens when you add that many more people? They estimate that
vehicles,
they estimate that alone is going to be an additional, this is Harmony, 12,500 people, based on that 3.44 people per house figure. Now, what happens if you, I think about my own neighborhood, and I think about the families that live around me, and I think the average is a mom and a dad and 2 kids. And sure, is there a house or 2 that have 1 person in it? Are there houses that have extended families? But my thought, and I even asked the city council, what happens if we bump that figure up to 2 people, or 2 parents and 2 kids? Now all of a sudden you're looking at 14,000 people in Harmony. Mm-hmm. And what does that do to your vehicle trips per day? It takes it from 34,000 additional trips per day, bumps it up to closer to 40.
Wow. You got a big job ahead of you. I was just thinking about, people mow their lawns. And, of course, hopefully everybody in Harmony mows and keeps those nice little patches of lawns and green water. And, 70% of water in California is used by keeping those lawns, by the way.
And the parkland.
And the park. But you got to have a lawnmower running for about an hour, and a leaf blower and an edger. And so 3,600 new homes, 3,600 new lawnmowers running for an hour on a Saturday or a Sunday. That's adding to the dust particulates. It's adding to the air contamination. Then you have the vehicles. Then you have people breathing out carbon. Mm-hmm. We're polluters too. We take in the oxygen and we put out carbon. Plants like carbon, so it's a good thing. But, I think we really need to look at all this and go, do we really want this? Do we really want Orange County and Gypsum Canyon? BetterHighland.net is the group. And I got to ask you, you're a warrior in my eyes. So are you.
Somebody's got to do it.
Is it just somebody, or how many people involved with this?
We've had meetings where we've had upwards near 50, 60 people showing up to this. So the word is getting out.
That's phenomenal.
This started out with probably, 10.
So the opposition is there. And you say you're not a group that collects funds.
No. In fact, what we're doing is just trying to collect people who have an understanding of what's coming. And that's the most important thing, why we ask people to go to our website just to get themselves educated.
So is somebody somewhere kicking some money down for a little bit of operating expenses? Are you kicking this out of your pocket, Steve? I mean, who's doing this?
No, and we do have some backing, and the some of the newspapers that have carried a story about us, RRD, have said, well, they're backed by the unions. And the fact is that 105, the Sheet Metal Workers Union, is a part of this group, and I am very thankful that they are, because they've helped us out providing structure to this group to kind of know which way to go. And I've sat down with union members, by the way, who are residents of the area and who have a concern about what this is going to do. And I said, what's your game? Why are you involved?
That'd be my question, yeah.
Well, the bottom line comes down to we have potentially a huge housing project going on, but do we know that this is going to afford jobs for local labor? Do we know that it's going to afford a living wage? And those are the two things that when asked, and one of the union members I talked to shrugged his shoulders and he goes, you want to be able to support your household on what you make at work. And when you have something out in this area, I want to see that local labor actually gets to take part in these developments.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's an important thing. Local labor, local jobs. That would be a defense of Lewis Homes if they did use union labor, if they did use local jobs.
Which so far they're not making any comment about doing that.
Track record. Let's look at the track record on that.
Yeah.
Things that make you go, If they could come forward and say, yeah, we provided union jobs, livable wage jobs, jobs with, unions don't mean just money. It means trained workers.
Right.
Workers who know their craft, know their skill, know what they're doing, provide a good quality project, that put money back into the community, that have a decent, livable, workable wage, that provide, a safe product. All these things that we need to use for the infrastructure, for the homes being built, for the schools being built. Yes, it will provide jobs to an extent, but are they quality jobs? That'd be another question for another show. Now, that's interesting. And I'm sure it's not just unions. I'm sure it's a lot of people, community members, live in other communities.
We have teachers. We have, Steve is an engineer. I'm a retired cop. We have people from all walks of life doing this. And again, just to recap your question, does anybody get anything out of this monetarily? And the answer is no, we don't. We're
not on this end of it, but on the other end of it,
we're doing
Lewis Homes gets a lot of money.
Lewis Homes and Orange County are going to make bank on this, hundreds of millions of dollars. They don't live in our community. They live wherever they do live, and they're going to be able to walk away laughing to the bank.
That's exactly what the problem is, a lot of it. There's this thought, this mindset that, there's an open space here next to a freeway, next to a highway. We must have more strip malls. We must have more gas stations. We must have more homes, more progress, more people. Well, it's really not that.
Isn't that the American dream?
No, it's really not the American dream. It doesn't create the American dream. What it creates is huge blocks of strip malls, and you drive up, the 101 or the 99 in California, and it's a Home Depot, a Jack in a Box, and a Walmart, one right after another, and the next four corners, and then the next four corners, and the next four corners. And they're not quality jobs. They're not quality way of living. They're not quality way of life. And you wonder, how do we get to this? Well, what you're doing, this introspective, you may not stop Lewis Homes. Maybe that's not your ultimate goal.
It's not the goal. We're not a group that is anti-development. And you can
That's important. You're not a group that's anti-development.
No, and you can say there's no such thing as the good old days, because even in the good old days, there were problems. Those are all things that we have. But when you take a look at Interstate 10 from the coast coming this way, it's called a megalopolis because there's no division from one city to the next to the next.
Well, we got to wrap it up. An hour goes quickly. ABetterHighland.net. We've been talking with Curtis Tuvey and also with Steve Rogers from Highland and Redlands. I'm Mark Westwood from Yucaipa. This is KCAA from San Bernardino, and this has been Community Crossroads. We'll be back here on Mondays and sometimes Fridays at 3 o'clock to provide a public service to our community. We'll be talking more about this. I hope we can invite you back. I invite Lewis Homes representatives to come back and give their side of the story, too. This is KCAA 1050 AM. You can find this podcast at KCAA
Radio.com.
Thank you for
listening to Crossroads. This program has been designed to present you with the issues that face our area. Your host has been Mark Westwood.
This is KCAA Loma Linda. CNBC News is next. Brought to you by BuySellMakeOffer.com. Go there now and join the thousands who have already signed up for a new and exciting way to buy and sell online.
For CNBC Business News, I'm Phil LeBeau. Instability in the global markets may be making investors and consumers nervous, but Tesla says that's not hurting demand for its